sort of tropey thick anime girl tutorial. Today we're just going to be drawing the same characters we've been drawing, but this time from the side so you can see a little bit more of the curves and edges here. Just jumping right into it, just going to draw in a small circle. Your circle does not have to be perfect at all. It's just a placeholder. I'm going to roughly keep my character the same height as the characters beside it. Then I'm going to draw a slightly concave line just off of the front here for my jaw. This character has kind of a longer jaw than what we've been drawing, so just going to keep it a little bit long. And this isn't a face tutorial or a head tutorial or anything, so we're not trying to do like a crazy detailed side silhouette here. I'm just trying to capture the basic shapes and building blocks. I am going to bring my head back this way a little, just because from the side your skull is a little bit longer in the back. It sits above the neck. Next we will drop in our spinal line, which, again, as I always say, really hard to just get perfectly right on your first go, so you do not have to take this line super seriously. It's just really nice to use as kind of a placeholder to help you balance everything. Next we'll put in a little short circle, kind of just over this little point here. We're going to put our collarbone facing down slightly. Then we can put in our neckline right like that. We don't want the collarbone to come too far past the neck. Our little line. Then we're going to put in the ribs. Keep them kind of flat, kind of boxy from this angle. Then we'll put this marker in for the base of the ribs. Put a line here. Our chest is going to fall right below that line there. Kind of connects over to the pit of the shoulders. Next, going to draw my hip line. Then keeping my hips just below the peak of my ribs here. Just going to use the same shape we used for the sides of our hips over here. I'm just going to poke it in like so. And I will just sort of fill out this little shape here. And then just going to use that as a rough guide before I pop in a slightly curved stomach there. So it gives a more mature line rather than just straight. Makes it a little bit more interesting to look at. Then I'm really going to pinch her lower back in to sort of exaggerate that she's got a really tight core. And I'm going to put in a socket for my leg down like so. I like to start sort of sketching out the overall height of my feet, because then from there I can just put in a line to figure out my knees. Place your knees oval in front of the leg bones here, and then I just give it an overall look to make sure it's the length that I want. So I will bring my knee down slightly. And from here, you're just trying to imagine and make sure that it's like proportionally what you want. I will move this down so my calves have a little bit more space to breathe. Then, super basic foot shape. Nothing crazy here. Then I will, from my hip line here, put in some nice thick quads, with the thickest portion being near to the top. And that'll bump into my kneecap. Oh, sorry, excuse me, kneecap. Then put in our hamstring, like so. Slightly concave. Well, I say slightly concave, and I went hamo. So slightly concave line here for our shin. Give a nice little bump for the calf muscle. and it kind of smoothly connects, so you want it to be shaped like that, not just like that. So it smoothly connects, makes it a more pleasant line. And then I'm just gonna put her arm slightly behind her so it's out of the way of all of our curves. Elbow needs to be just below the ribs where they end. Then we can bring our shoulder into the bicep, and this can curve into our pit. And then hand roughly the same height as our shoulder, like so. And I'm just gonna make sure this is actually a semi-nice line here. There we go. So now we can put in the glutes and chest. So I guess we'll just start with the chest. As you see, my character over here has slightly large chest here, so I am going to put a little line just above where it starts sinking in for my belly button. That way I kind of know overall I can't go too much deeper than that for the chest. So I'm just gonna stick it out and around, making a little bit of a teardrop shape here. If you're doing this on paper, it's a little bit easier because you can just rotate. You can rotate here too, but for the sake of the visual experience for everyone watching, I don't really want to be spinning my page like a Beyblade, so I'm just gonna keep it like this and just make it work. So we'll put that like that, and notice how I have a little bit of a curve into this, and that's because the breast is sitting on top of the ribs here. So it's not, unless it's like a boob with implants, it's not really just going to be popping out like a circle like this. It's going to actually follow whatever it's sitting on, and then it's just going to pudge out like that. So that is good. Next we want the glutes. So on this character, she's thicker, so she's going to actually have like perky, meaty glutes here. So this time we're going to just give her some really perky glutes, like so. And again, I'm just trying to sketch until I find a pleasant shape that I like. And I'm keeping it sort of flat at the top, curve it in, but then really hook it in at the very bottom. And I just won't make it that exaggerated of a line there. And something like that. And really pinch the lower back here. Add in some little tummy lines, the little rib mark, and there we go. So now I will just throw in my line art. I'm just using black since I'm doing a figure study here. Just gonna throw this in. Again, this is not a head tutorial, so I'm really just making sure I get the balance somewhat good. Not actually trying to put in a detailed head. This figure study is more for overall balance and shapes and curves of a character's body. So we're just throwing these in. Try not to make this look too terrible though. Then I will put in the flat part of my upper chest, followed by the breast. Sort of erase this. Next, I'll throw in my back right there. I like to do the hip into the quad next, so I'll do that. And I can get the glute out of the way, which is not going to be the easiest to do in one movement because it's so big. So let's zoom out a little bit. And I'm just redoing this line until I finally get one the way I want, but it's not the easiest to do. Especially if you're trying to keep your line smooth, you kind of have to go fast. So, like, right there, I got a good shape, so I can just increase it slightly. There we go. And just pop it out right here. Sort of blend. Bring this back a little. Bring this back a little. Belly lines. Little rib, poke this down into the little belly. Next I will throw in my hamstrings, my rear calf, my shin, and my foot. Try to keep my foot somewhat even there. And there we go. So that concludes our sort of tropey thick anime character tutorial. So kind of exaggerated proportions for the chest and glutes and keeping the stomach area tight, but hopefully this is helpful for you and your characters, and I will see you in the next one.